I'm going to call to order this regular meeting of the Page County School Board.
Mr. Gabriel.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Dr. Painter.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Gordon.
Yes. Please pause for a moment of silence as we prepare for the meeting tonight. Please keep Mr. Lansbury and his family in your thoughts and prayers. As we are saddened and we miss Mr. Lansbury, we ask that you just think about him during this moment. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dr. Fox, do we have any agenda changes or additions?
No, we do not.
Can I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Painter and a second by Dr. Painter to approve the agenda as presented.
Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Dr. Painter.
Yes.
Mr. Gabriel.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Gordon.
Yes.
Madam Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we certify personnel matters discussed in closed session from Section 2.2-3711A1.
Second.
A motion by Mrs. Sullivan Smoot and a second by Mr. Painter to approve matters discussed in closed session.
Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Dr. Painter.
Yes.
Mr. Gabriel.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Gordon.
Yes. We have a citizen comment, no citizen comment. All right. We need a motion to open.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
We don't need a motion.
Oh, good then.
Okay. So we are going to open the public hearing. I'm going to go ahead and read this before we have our speakers. The Page County School Board welcomes citizen comment during regular meetings. School board members do not respond to public comment during a meeting. All comments should address a matter related to Page County Public Schools. The school board will not hear public comment that involves an individual student-related matter, the disclosure of which would violate applicable confidentiality requirements. The school board expects that each speaker will be courteous, modeling for our students how one can respectfully agree or disagree with others' views. Speakers will address their comments to the entire school board and not to one individual board member, nor to the superintendent, a staff member, or the audience. Speakers will have 3 minutes to present their comments from the podium.
I'll be brief. My name is Clyde Humphrey. I wish to speak in support of Taylor Alger. I have had the pleasure of working with Taylor on the nonpartisan Page County Public Forum, where she created the very successful forum on agriculture in Page County that was presented 2 nights ago. I know Taylor is very active in community through her work with PACA and the Wesley Rec Center. Her focus is on helping young people to achieve. Her demonstrated experience, creativity, and hard work ethics will be great assets to the Page County School Board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Barbara Helper.
Good evening. My name is Barbara Halpern. I live in District 1. My greatest concern for the school system right now is the lost learning that our students have suffered from the last few difficult years. I think it's a very, I think the problem is recognized by everyone, but I think the solutions are very difficult, and I think you have a lot ahead of you in the coming year because it's an issue that needs immediate attention. The future of the current students really depend on the success of the school system in addressing this lost learning problem. I am very, very grateful to all of you to address the empty seat quickly, because I think you need a full board to take on the challenges that you face this coming year. What I urge you to do is to choose the skills and experience of an applicant that is best suited to the task you face this year. You have teacher retention issues, teacher recruitment issues, you have behavioral issues, you have mental health crises, and it's all involved in the lost learning. And the pressure to get these kids back on track is on them. It is hard, and it's hard on everyone, the teachers, the parents, everyone who's trying to help them. I am not familiar with the resumes of all the applicants, but I do know Taylor Alger's resume, and I know that she has demonstrated abilities in the various areas that you need to consider when you're choosing a replacement. She has experience in mental health and behavioral training and programs with kids. She has organizational and management programs. She has experience. She's involved in many, many organizations. As Mr. Humphrey just said this morning or before me, she is deeply involved in the agricultural community. She works with children. She works with lots of nonprofit organizations here in the county. And I think she has the skills to address all the various facets of the problems that you face right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Audrey King, and I'm here to support Taylor Alger for the seat in District 1. I've known Taylor for a short time, just over a year. Within that time, I found her to be nothing short of amazing. Typically, I've learned from wise counsel not to endorse people when you want to be friends to all in Page County. And before coming here tonight, I didn't know who the other candidates for consideration were. And the only reason with both of those things in mind that I decided to come is because regardless of who the other candidates could have been, I know no one in Page County more qualified or with a heart and desire for youth that would exceed that of Taylor Alger. So civically, I've watched her assist youth. It's one thing to give opinions on how to come together and bring together the school system and programs and activities that will affect our youth. It's another when you dive in head first and be that standing point. And if you go out into your lobby on tonight, you'll see it flooded with youth that support Taylor Alger. I've seen her do everything from sitting with high-risk children going through all types of crisis to stepping in the middle and being an advocate and stopping kids from trying to tear each other's heads off. That's the type of person she is. Taylor does everything in District 1 right now. You can find her at least one day out of the week going home to home, feeding those that are in need. She works with Living Legacy and the Recreation Center. She works with PAC. And I know that when I first encountered her, it was not that we could partner. She came to me wanting to bring together organizations within the county. And so in doing that, I asked her the question I asked everybody, which is, why don't you join mine? And she jumped right in because that's the heart that she has. So, and just knowing her civic background and knowing her heart and knowing that she is at an age that although she has wisdom, she's still applicable to knowing the needs she grew up in and through the pandemic that we're all facing and trying to find out how we mature out of it as a county and as a school. And I could think of no one else that would be better fit to help the entirety of what you all are already doing wonderfully to push our school system and our youth forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Damon Mendez.
Good evening, everybody. I'm here in support of Taylor Alger as well, seconding everything that Audrey King just said. I get the pleasure of working with her on a daily basis. She's come into the rec, and since she's been there, I have learned an immense amount from her in the way that she goes at and goes towards every single issue and problem. The passion that she has for our youth is absolutely amazing. In one-on-one time that she spends with them, to helping us provide and prep the meal programs, to just giving them the attention and time that they need. Her experience in the school systems and the TDT counseling, absolutely everything that she's been doing has been an absolute asset to what we do at the rec. I've been at the West Luray Rec Center for about a year now, and since she's been there, it's just been positive idea after positive idea, and what can we do and how can we help affect and learn and guide the youth in absolutely every aspect. She started a program called Guide and Grow, and it's exactly that, how we can guide them and put them on the right path in order for them to grow as being awesome individuals when they grow up. So again, I couldn't think of anybody else that I could see in that position other than her. And that's what I would say. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Meredith Bachner.
It's Meredith Bogner. I am a current resident and taxpayer in District 1, and I'm coming before you tonight to extend my support and recommendation for Heather Embry. When I look at what you all do and how difficult that is, you need someone who's going to complement your board and be an asset to you. And so I'm going to break it down because I know 3 minutes is going to go quick. But one is Heather has a multifaceted invested interest, right? She's not only a taxpayer, she has children in the school, she's a business owner, she's an alum. She's coming at it from a lot of different angles that sometimes individuals, we just have a siloed version, right? Like, I'm a taxpayer, my kid's graduated, he's not in the school anymore, but I still want the children in this district to thrive and do well and have what they need. And I've seen Heather do that time and again in many different, avenues. And so I think that is something that will complement what you're doing here. The second thing is she has the skill set. You all have to manage budgets. You have to make tough decisions. She had to deal with having 2 small businesses in 2 different, she's got Harrisonburg and Luray, and she had to figure out what to do with COVID and PPE and dealing with employees and things like that. You all had to do that for our school districts too, and it's not easy. So to be able to have that diversified experience of dealing with tough situations, making tough calls, not always being able to do everything that you want to do in the manner that you want to do it, I think that she, again, is somebody that you want her at your table and thinking with you as a thinking partner. The third thing that comes to mind is Heather dreams bigger than anybody I've ever met. And what I mean by that is she loves this community through and through and these children. And her motto, since I've known her, has been, it's all for the kids. She's going to keep that in mind, and she's going to find a way. When she dreams big, she doesn't just say, I wish, I wish, I wish, right? She says, how do we make it happen? And we break it down. And she's done that time and time again. It was her connections that got us the support for Pioneer Bank and Luray Caverns to have new billboards down at the fields. That was a $67,000 venture that she made happen. When I joined the school board as the LBAA president, if it weren't for Heather, we wouldn't have accomplished even a fraction of what we did. We raised so much money, and she raised so much money to be able to put uniforms on those kids' backs. The day one, when I took over, we had $4,500 in our account and a $10,000 budget. Now, I'm pretty sure all of you have dealt with, we don't have the money to do this. How do we overcome it, right? So there are things that we put in projection of, okay, we can't do this year, can we do it next year? How can we make it happen? How can we raise funds better? How can we bring this community together? She did that. And that's why I think she will be the perfect person to fill that vacancy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Noah Polk. Adam Bosworth.
Can we move it down? Oh. Hey.
You want to hold it?
Hold it. You're okay.
Yeah.
You can do it. You can do it.
First, I think that she's is this thing working.
Yeah, you talk to us.
I think that she's really kind-hearted and she's really good with kids, and I really think that she should be a part of our schools and see us more. And I'm glad for her to come. And
We couldn't hear the name at the beginning.
Miss Taylor. I forgot her name for a minute.
Who was it? Miss Taylor.
I just wanted to say that I'm glad that she come. I really want her to make it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam.
No.
Good job.
Very great.
I believe it's my favorite.
Taylor?
And I can't read this first name, but it's Herbert. What's your first name, ma'am? Kathy. Kathy?
Can I just talk into this or? Yeah, I'm Kathy Herbert. I live in District 1. And I think that there have been many wonderful comments made and qualifications stated. And I support Taylor Alger. And I do so because I think her experience is very multifaceted. She's been involved in the community in very different ways. There's a flexibility that I believe will enable her to help work with you collaboratively. I think the fact that she's a collaborative worker has been very evident in everything that people have said. You know, she's very much interested in making things better as part of a group dynamic. And what really stands out for me is her involvement with mental health and emotional health, which I know it's been stated, but the toll of the pandemic on these kids in terms of those factors, just mental and emotional health, I think has been just devastating. And that requires a very special skill set and awareness to be able to deal with that. That may be a little unconventional. I mean, that's something that you probably haven't had to look at in terms of, I mean, everybody just went along normally and you had the normal problems and, you know, kids got into trouble and it was just sort of business as usual. But I think post-pandemic, it no longer is, and the emphasis on a need to have someone who can speak from a very practical, problem-solving, program-oriented position on mental and emotional health is quite critical. So I hope on that basis you will look favorably on her candidacy, plus the fact that she works very well with others. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. You can hear me without the microphone?
You're going to need the mic.
You're going to have to use the mic for the video. It's streamed.
For those viewing.
For those viewing.
Thank you. I I'm going to keep my remarks shorter and more brief than I ordinarily would. Those of you who know me know I'm a storyteller, so that means I get into a lot of hot water. But I have to tell you one story, and that one story has to do with why I think Taylor will be such a good asset to this organization. The building we're in right now is a building that most of you know the history who are here, but others of you may not know the history. This building was constructed so that the children who lived on this side of town would not be able to go to the integrated new school on the other side of town. But what was interesting is when they built it to the highest standards, so they thought that these folks here would like that. Well, guess what? It didn't have a cafeteria, and it didn't have a library, and it didn't have a gymnasium, and it didn't have an auditorium. It didn't have any of those things. But I have a personal interest. My name's Dell. And my personal interest is that my grandmother, Hester Geneva Cyrus Johnson, was a person who was one of the 2 chief cooks here. So they had a kitchen. And in the kitchen, what would they do? They would bake. And then to serve the children here, they would roll that meal out on carts. And I had cousins who would tell me, because I would come every summer, I was here almost all my life between the ages 0 and 5, and then every summer since then from South Jersey. Boy, we had Cousin Hester's rolls for lunch. And we had this and we had that. That's what they tell me now. And you know what? I'm up there eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. But that's what happened here. My grandmother and Cousin Hazel came here, and they served the children here the best way they could. It was only about a year or 2 later before the school system changed again and everybody was going to the schools across town. So I'm glad that I love Virginians. They're very, very, very smart. Recycled this building, and this is where we are today. So I needed to tell you that story to tell you why I so appreciate Taylor's activity with children. She's not just there with this special group of children. She's with all the children, and she's digging in the dirt with her hands. That matters a whole lot to a kid that grew up also in Jersey, because that tells me she's translating for them what it takes to nurture, sow, grow, cultivate. Got that from another friend in our organization. I want to say that I believe Taylor will be a wonderful asset. I encourage you to help fill that spot so that she can bring the leadership you've heard about all night long, all evening long to you. I want to say that I also work with these children in my capacity as president of the board of Page County Social Services. So I know the children of which we speak. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Wendy Brown. I am an ex-teacher of Page County. I was a science teacher, and I retired early because I couldn't hack the work, and I didn't feel supported by my school system at all. And I now have a child in the school system who has emotional disabilities and intellectual disabilities, and I still don't feel like my school system is there for him. In the last IEP meeting, I was told that there were no guidance or therapies for him, not ABA therapy because he has autism, nothing. And I really would love to see some new blood in the school board with innovation, open-mindedness, and a new way of thinking, a new way of looking at education outside of Page County. And Taylor Alger went to Colorado, I believe, to study. She has an outside perspective, and she's brought a lot of innovation, as you've heard tonight, to our county, and I'd really like to see that happen. So as an ex-teacher with a master's degree in education, who's no longer using that $100,000 education, with a child who is in need of help from this school, I would really appreciate if you guys would consider Taylor Alger.
Thank you. We're going to close the public hearing. Can I have a motion to approve the August minutes that are posted?
I make a motion to approve the August 2022 minutes.
Second.
A motion by Dr. Painter and a second by Mr. Painter to approve the August 2022 minutes.
Excuse me.
Okay. So I'm going to reopen the public hearing. No, I know.
I'll keep it brief too, but I admit to not knowing the other contenders. I'm a Page County resident living in Shenandoah. I had one son who graduated from Page County High School, and he did very well. I'm appreciative of the education that he got. But I do know Taylor Alger, and I'm honored and proud to recommend her as a perfect candidate to fill position 1 on Page County Public School Board. Taylor brings a wealth of experience, education, and wisdom to augment any board or organization. She brings a youthful energy tempered by a depth of maturity and wisdom. She is a great people person and a diplomat to bridge any perceived differences. She serves on PACA with the Rec Center, and I'm proud to say she is with Page County Public Forum. She brings a servant's heart to any commitment and delivers everything she says she will and more. She is a strength in any weave of any strong and complete fabric of any board. I really pray that you will consider her to fill this position in your school board. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for getting me.
You bet. You bet, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for coming out to speak. You all are more than welcome to stay and watch the rest of our fun meeting, or you are welcome to go and enjoy the rest of your evening. It is completely up to you. But thank you all for coming to speak to us tonight.
They can't sit through closed session anyway.
No. So we're going to close the public hearing. We're good. We have a motion and a second on the floor by Dr. Painter and Mr. Painter to approve the August minutes.
Dr. Painter.
Yes.
Mr. Goodwin.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes.
Ms. Gordon.
Yes. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Madam Chairman, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Goodwin.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Dr. Painter.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes.
Ms. Gordon.
Yes. Ms. Sechrist, monthly financial reports.
Yes, good evening, board. You all have been provided with the monthly financial report for September, where the expenditures and revenue were $4,284,120. Along with that, you have been provided with the local match calculation that we did balance with the treasurer's office. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer.
Anybody have any questions? Thank you, Ms. Sechrist. You are up again with the FY24 budget.
Yes, ma'am. This evening, we are presenting to you all the FY24 budget calendar draft. This calendar has already actually somewhat been implemented, as we have given out budget templates and already received them back from our schools and departments. We're filing those now. Dr. Fox and I will start our meetings next week, weekly meetings on budget and things like that. In December, you can see there's some TBAs. We don't have exact dates on when the proposed budget will be released. It's usually the Friday before the winter break holiday. If you all choose to keep your meetings and schedule the same as it is currently, that is what January, February, March, April, and May are then based upon. That does have 4 budget work sessions prior to the Board of Supervisor approval of our budget. with the superintendent's proposed budget happening hopefully around February the 9th, a budget approval from the school board on March the 23rd, and then the Board of Supervisors, in speaking with their finance director, are projected to adopt their budget on May the 1st. We would then have one more work session to make any adjustments or needed changes, and then our final budget adoption would be May the 11th. Of course, as you all know, after last budget season, all of this is very subject to change depending on what happens at the state level. You all have any questions? I can answer those.
There is no state level date for a budget, is it?
Sorry.
Okay.
Should be a little bit better, but
Yeah,
this should
hopefully,
be in
this is the second year
for
of
the
the
second.
biennium budget that should hopefully be not nearly as lengthy.
And up in the air.
Right.
Thank you. And you are also up again, Ms. Seacrest. Approval of claims for payment.
Yes. Good evening, Board. Again, you have been provided with the claim certification for the month of October. For the operating fund was $377,239.04. We had a CIP expenditure of $87,339. Food service, $104,503.37. Excuse me. Total expenditures, $569,081.41. Along with that, you've been provided with the list of claims as well as all the check registers for the month. If you have any questions, I'll be
I make a motion to approve the claims for payment as presented by Ms. Seacrest.
Second.
A motion by Dr. Painter and a second by Mr. Gubler to approve the claims for payment as presented.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Dr. Painter?
Yes.
Mr. Gubler?
Yes.
Mrs. Sullivan Smith?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Seacrest, again, purchase orders over 10,000.
Yes, good evening, Board. We have two purchase orders for your consideration this evening over 10,000. One is for Power School using technology funds, and the other is for the Shenandoah Valley Regional Program that supports our special education department and students. That payment there would be two actual payments, one happening currently and then another one happening after the first of the year.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the purchase orders over $10,000.
Second.
A motion by Mrs. Sullivan Smoot, and a second by Mr. Gubler to approve the purchase orders over 10,000.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Dr. Painter?
Yes.
Mr. Gubler?
Yes.
Mrs. Sullivan Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Seacrest. Dr. Johnson, VSBA policy updates.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, members of the school board. At the last meeting, Mrs. Jeffries, Mrs. Ryman, and I presented to you the recommended policy updates that we received from the Virginia School Board Association. Tonight we come to you for approval for those policies. I would remind you that there was one policy, BDD, in which we needed to decide on a number of times that you would be allowed to participate as a school board member remotely. And we would recommend that number be 4. The policy states not to exceed 25%. You think about 12 months in a year, you don't have 2 meetings in 2 of those months, it puts you at 22. To buy yourself a little bit more wiggle room, 4 would be 20% or less, and it would probably be safe.
I make a motion, we approve the VSBA policy updates.
Second.
A motion by Dr. Painter and a second by Mr. Painter to approve the VSBA policy updates.
Dr. Painter?
Yes.
Mr. Gubler?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes. Thank you. Dr. Fox, student handbook and code of conduct update, the SBAR changes.
Yeah, so thank you. We talked about this at the last meeting. These are the most recent updates that have come from the state for our code of conduct in terms of those student codes and then the level of responses. So tonight we just ask for your approval for those.
I move that we approve the student handbook and code of conduct update as presented. Second.
A motion by Mr. Gubler and a second by Mr. Painter to approve the student handbook as presented.
Mr. Gubler?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Dr. Painter?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan Smith?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Ryman, overnight field trips.
Thank you. Yeah, good evening. I have 2 overnight field trips to request your approval for. One is for the Luray High School FCCLA chapter to attend the national conference. That will be occurring from November 10th to November 13th. And the second one is also from Luray High School. This is in relation to their senior class trip, which they have planned from April 19th to April 22nd. They desire to go out of state to Florida, to Universal Studios, and enjoy some culminating experience time together.
I'll make a motion that we approve the overnight field trips as presented.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Painter and a second by Dr. Painter to approve the overnight field trips as presented. Is there any discussion?
Well, because it's going to be asked, has Paige planned any such senior trip, or did they have interest?
I think they're in process.
I think
They're
so
in
too.
process?
I haven't seen anything formal come through, but I definitely think they're in conversation.
Are there plans for them to be able to make sure all of the kids have the opportunity to go on?
I'm sure, yeah. And Ms. Clark has worked with that and talked with kids that, may need some support in doing so to be able to attend.
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you.
I make a motion that we go into closed session, discuss personnel, section 2.2-3711A1, pertaining to the discussion, consideration, or interviews of prospective candidates for school board employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salary, discipline, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of the school board.
Second.
A motion by Dr. Painter and a second by Mr. Gubler to go into closed session.
Yes.
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 have to come back in.
Do we have to come back to open? We came out of closed. Can I have a motion? Okay. Do I need to call us to order then?
You need to certify.
We're back in open. Can I have a motion to certify matters discussed in closed session? Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry.
I'd like to certify personnel matters discussed in closed section for section 2.2-3711A1.
Second.
A motion by Dr. Painter and a second by Mr. Gubler to certify personnel matters discussed in closed session.
Dr. Painter?
Yes.
Mr. Gubler?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan Smith?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you have to say what we're doing now?
Appointment of District 1 school board member.
I would like to table the appointment for school board council's recommendation until next week. I make a motion to table it.
Second.
We have a motion by Dr. Painter and a second by Mr. Gubler to table the action to appoint District 1 school board member per council until next week.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. Board member discussion time?
Okay, so I feel like I have to say this because all these people came back in here. But in order to follow the law, we actually have to wait 7 days after public comment before we can name the person. So once we talked to council and found that out, that's why we tabled it, which means we did nothing with it. And then we'll have another meeting next week. Sorry.
Thank you for.
We're just trying to follow the rules.
Especially once we know them.
Yes.
When we know better, we do better.
That's right.
Any other discussion?
Dr. Fox, thank you for your continued hard work and your team. I very much appreciate it. I know it's been a busy start to the year, so very much appreciate it.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I'm fortunate to have a great team and great teachers and staff and certified staff, all of them who make it happen. So my thanks to them.
Absolutely.
Great team work.
I think we had a lot of discussions today and just hearing different things. We're blessed to be in the community that we're in. A lot of support for one another, and it's a wonderful thing because not every community has what we have. So that's one of the blessings I would count.
Yeah, I think it was encouraging to see so many people come out interested in a school board position, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's jumping to be on school boards. But it was great to see we had so many people that wanted to do that. And then to hear, like to have the chance to talk to them and hear some of the great things that are going on in our schools. Many of them are former teachers or have kids in the schools. So they just reiterated the great work that's happening. And, you know, it was refreshing. We knew it was going to be a long day today, but it was refreshing to talk and hear all about all of the great things that are going on. And, you know, for when we do get to legally appoint somebody, just everybody else that did apply and anybody else that is interested, you know, remember that it's a 1-year appointment and you can always start the process for election for the 2023 election, right? Yeah.
November 2023.
Yeah, November 2023, it'll be a special election. So, you know, that process is open and it's there, and hopefully there's as much interest.
And District 3 will be open.
Okay, we're going to start throwing stuff. But anyway, she's ready. But just remember that and keep that same and keep that same passion. And we encourage everybody to, to run for election.
Well, if you want to know, Amy gave a detailed word by word how to run for election. a couple of meetings ago, so
I can do the rundown
we
again.
did the rundown again, how to do it.
Carol Gaunt does a good job.
Yeah,
You
she
go in
does.
there, she does.
Perfect.
I mean, the same thing we talked about. It's a small community, but she really will help you out. Because believe me, I had no idea. And I did it.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion by Mrs. Sullivan Smoot and a second by Dr. Painter to adjourn. She got her.
She pulled an Amy Painter.
Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Dr. Painter.
Yes.
Mr. Gabriel.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan Smith.
Yes.
Yes. We are adjourned.
All right.